Even though I was very emotional about it all, which I probably shouldn't have been, but okay, they're going to let me in through there. The church really did help me kind of grow up, and I'm appreciative of MacArthur. So I guess God kind of came into my life recently and made me realize, wait a minute, these are the things that we taught you. Then I could see clearly. So there was a moment when, I guess after Angel left and got I got scared of me, and then she took off, that I became, I guess, very angry for about maybe a month or so. It's about the same, almost around a little bit after the time A Star Is Born was released, which is weird. You know, if you go like before Star Is Born and then after Star Is Born. But I guess I just got angry, and so I turned away from the church, and, you know, I was going to move to another church. I was going to go to IBC, and Angel wanted to stay with MacArthur, and I guess that created a feud since we were kind of an evangelical marriage. Our marriage was a religious thing. It was like an evangelical marriage, so we brought it over to the Lord. So it took me a while to kind of feel God's love, and really it was probably God's love. And you know, like when you're a kid and someone touches you and you're like, hey, don't touch me. It was that amplified in a very big way. So I was being touched by God's love, and then I had to realize that I had to just accept it. So anyway, and so I kind of got mad at people like Ricky and his wife and things like that, because, you know, you want to blame someone or something, and I didn't understand why Angel left, and it was probably for evangelical reasons and or whatever, you know, for the sake of the Lord. So I had to kind of turn it over to the Lord. Fell into sin, did the backslide thing, jumped back, and now I'm helping an alcoholic find sobriety, which I think is right. I think that's what he wants. He does want us to have family, don't get me wrong. You know, if you're married, stay married. It's very important. It's more than an institution. Stay married. And I see Linda and I as a married couple, but no one's perfect. There's always going to be some kind of fight in a marriage, and not everything is going to go your way in a marriage. And ideally, Angel and I still have a connection because of the kids, although I don't get to see them right now. I will get to see them again, I'm sure of that. Now, I could call MacArthur, or I could just tell them in a message if they have someone watching these, and I know some of them are kind of commercial and crazy, but, you know, I am grateful to all of the saints there, you know, because we're all saints under the blood of the Lamb. So, of course, they know that I am grateful, and that things can go awry, and it's happened throughout history. And I'm thankful for Art and all his lessons and church history, and I'm thankful to all of them for everybody. I'm not putting names out there for any particular reasons. I'm just grateful for their education and theology, and also their help within the church, because they helped us move several times. They've given us several materials. At times they even asked for a little bit of money. I did pay it back. But you know, that kind of stuff. And I did give. I was charitable, so I did give. And charity is important. The word charity is important. So I just want all of them to know that that's how it really is. I guess maybe that's why all this is going on, you know, in different forms and fashion. And they understand that. So it takes a while to get all the ducks in a row. And sometimes I am envious, but I know that God loves us in different ways. So we're all loved in different ways. He treats all his children differently for different reasons. I guess that's how all parents are, really. If you're a parent, you're going to treat one kid this way, and then another kid, you know, the one that likes ice cream, you're going to treat her that way. And then, you know, the other kid that likes toys, you know, because if like one kid liked ice cream and you gave him ice cream, and the other kid wanted Snickers or toys, and the other kid didn't really care about certain type of toys, you know what I mean? So kids are always treated differently. And so I guess God treats us, well, we're his children, so we're all kind of disciplined and nurtured and loved in different ways. Okay, so we know that. So Cole's not mad anymore. I'm sorry for saying a curse language, which I never should do. Those things are bad, even though rappers do it every day, but it's bad. Anyway, I'm also grateful for Alex Kendrick and all his wonderful knowledge in the cinema, and how great he is and everything. even though I'm a Scorsese fan, but I think it's because of his connection with the Catholic Church. I'm not Catholic, I'm Protestant, but still, I can be a fan because Scorsese's still a person, you know. Even though he's making a really good one, Killers of the Flower Moon. I know it's going to be a big deal, but I know that probably they're like, don't talk about that. But, you know, I mean, like I said, no one's perfect. I just try to be grateful. I am grateful to the Catholic Church, too, even though I'm not Catholic. I'm not Catholic, so. But I have studied Martin Luther and things like that. But I'm grateful for everyone, you know, for every type of person and their beliefs and everything. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Thankful to friends and family and church, and MacArthur's fine. Everything's, I mean, you know, they're doing their thing just like everybody else is doing their thing. I would eventually like to find a church so that I can introduce Linda to how God can be and how grateful, you know, we should be. And we do pray, and we will continue on. So thank you. The idea behind MacArthur is that you're always finding Jesus. I'm talking about MBBC. And also what's good too is if you're lost and you wander into that church from, let's say, another belief or another faith, there's always those kind of churches that are little special ops churches that can bring people in, you know, because they're there for a purpose, and God's in control. It doesn't really matter what we say. I mean, God puts all his churches in certain areas for his purpose and for his glory. But that's, I kind of see MacArthur too as a place where I refound Jesus, and then I hung out with Jesus, and we were friends, and he showed me how much he could love me. And I think he's shown me that more than anything else in the world, including storytelling, theater, and everything else. I think he's shown me the most and has loved me the most.
I love a teeny kitchen.
Whenever I met Angel, the first thing I did before our meeting at Starbucks was I bought a game of chess in homage to Ingmar Bergman's The Seventh Seal, because I knew that if we were written about, that I went to Toys R Us and I bought a game of chess, and we played chess, and I taught Angel how to play chess, and she learned very quickly, and I beat her, so I got her into checkmate. Then we eventually had 3 children, and after we had our 3 children, you know, eventually I knew that would probably be, I wouldn't say the end of me, but it would be tough. It'd be going into parenthood, and I entered into that, and which was strange because at the time when we were meeting stuff, I couldn't even really cover the Red Lobster dinner, that kind of thing. Anyway, regardless, we continued on. And then I knew when I'd get to this state, and she had left and got the kids, and I started thinking about my cat Sugar. I had this cat named Sugar, and it was a Manx. It was a cat that she had no tail, because Manx, they don't have tails. And I thought of Sugar, and boy, let me tell you, Sugar had a lot of babies. And if Romeo, who was the tuxedo cat back in the day, because I had another tuxedo cat before Edmund, when Romeo would go around Sugar's kittens, boy, Sugar would tear into Romeo. Nobody went around her babies. Nobody. She would tear into them. I mean, so I know from learning from Sugar, you know, about moms. I learned from Romeo, my tuxedo cat, one of my first tuxedo cats. So he went with me to Maine. That cat did, traveled everywhere. Him and his son, Mojo, this black cat. We wrote a whole book. They're in the book too. It's called Escape from Maine. I know it's stand-up comedy. It would be funny at the Comedy Store, but it's actually true. That's why I really did write this book, Escape from Maine, because it's cold. Romeo was with me a long time. He passed away in Johnson County not very long ago, and then Mojo passed away in Maine. He stayed in Maine with my mom till a raccoon or something got him. But boy, when Sugar, man, she was protective of those babies. It was like, it was Claw City. Mojo was a little slow. He was a big black cat. I think he had one little tiny white spot on him somewhere. But anyway, because I'm kind of a little superstitious, I always pretended like he did. But he was a big old cat. He was the son of Romeo. big kitty, big old kitty. He was real big old stomach. You could turn him upside down and his tail would be sticking up and he would purr. He would purr no matter what. If you went close up to him, he would purr. So if you stood next to him, he'd purr. He'd always purr. He was always purring, no matter what. And I turned him upside down, he would still be purring. Love that cat. So docile. I don't see how a raccoon could have got him. One other thing, though, I want to say about children. I think there's a spiritual aspect to it. I mean, that's what Star Wars is all about. And I know I'm talking about Christianity, but Star Wars will come into the picture eventually, at least in Sunday school. So George Lucas is to blame. It does. Star Wars is mentioned. There is a spiritual connection that you have with your children. As long as you know God, that doesn't go away. So you may have your kids right next to you and the whole family doing the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch, right? But if you don't have that spiritual connection with God, then you can't be a parent. It doesn't matter if your kids are all around you all the time. You have your kids all the time, every second of the day. You're an online guy. You're an online dad. It's the online dad sitting there doing his online job. Doesn't matter. Got to have that spiritual connection with God to be a parent. Doesn't matter where your kids are. You'll always be able to see them no matter what. Because in heaven, that's eternal. We're only here for a blink of an eye. Heaven goes on for all of time. And that's where you want your kids to go. And this one's dedicated to Adam the Woo when he's on Delta, getting those cheap pretzels. Airline to Heaven, baby. Wilco. Or you can listen to the original one, which I recommend, by Woody Guthrie. I know it's kind of, hang on, let me see if I can get the stable shot. It's kind of getting all crazy. I think Adam's a good teacher. I listened to a little bit of Guttermouth. I saw some photos. I definitely consider Guttermouth to be a punk band. They definitely have a punk sound. They're not Green Day, but I actually liked them. I don't know which ones he played on, though. I'd like to find out which albums that Adam the Woo played on Guttermouth. I think he goes by Adam Williams, but I don't know what he goes by on the album. You could find out by looking on some of the albums and finding out all the musicians. You can do that on Wikipedia. I probably will do that later on, find out, maybe send him a message. This is Airline to Heaven, though. It's Wilco. And it's also another good band is another really, really good band. Well, Woody Guthrie is the one who wrote it. I over earlier, and I didn't get them because it wasn't magnificent enough, so I got them now. So I am listening to Guttermouth, and I'm listening to Surf's Up, A-Hole. The ASS thing. And I thought I heard Adam laugh on that. They were telling a joke at the beginning. It sounded like he was laughing. I don't know if he's playing bass on that one, but I was listening to it. Pretty interesting. They're a pretty interesting band. I don't think they were a sellout band. I don't think they were manufactured. I can tell by just that cut alone, that album alone, or that song alone. I don't know a lot about them at all. I'm just learning like right now, but they don't sound manufactured. So it sounds like they're a pretty true punk band. Guttermouth, that was the one Adam toured with, and he talks about quite a bit. And I've listened to him a little bit since then, but I've decided to listen to him a lot today. Surf's Up, A-Hole is what I'm realized. I did try to start a band in high school. Is probably going into my junior year. When I left Richland and Haltom, and then I had a brief stay at Keller High School and met some kind of REM fans. So we were all big REM fans. We liked REM. And there were geniuses in the band. There was a great drummer. I would eventually have been a guitar player because I picked it up later. I was going to be the lead singer. And then we had another guy, I think, that was rhythm, and we were called 9 Minutes to Live. And later on, I'd do a play coming out of college, Man 1, Man 2, 3 Minutes Old, which is loosely based on that title. One of the band members was in a Taco Bell and was reading a choke thing for choking, like if you're in Taco Bell. and it said something about 9 minutes to live or something. It was like one of those old kind of what to do, you know, Heimlich maneuver kind of thing, and it shows like the little things. He read that it said something about 9 minutes to live. So that's what we were going to be called. We could have went down the punk avenue with an REM sound. I don't know if we were all on the same page. We had 2 rehearsals, and I wrote the lyrics. I was starting to write poetry at that point, and you know, they're all the way from Maryland. I don't know. We had 2 rehearsals, and then I think I ended up leaving Keller and going to Passmore in the theater. From Maryland. Yeah, it was Keller, Texas, when 9 minutes to live. We just had 2 rehearsals. That was it. Oh, I remember now. I don't remember any of the band members or anything. We had 2 rehearsals, and this guy's it's like his bedroom. We had a tape player, so we turned the tape player on. Anyway, so I wrote these lyrics down, and the drummer started drumming. There was a couple attempts at different bands. I'll tell you about the other one later. The drummer started drumming. There was a keyboard. I think I started playing some keyboard, Trent Reznor kind of thing. And then I started singing, and it came out like in a British accent. I wonder if Dondi, I don't know if Dondi was in it. But I remember someone told me, they said, you know, you don't have to sing in a British accent. And I guess I thought I had to. So I started singing, and it was like, you've got the key to my heart. And they're like, what are you doing? It came out in a British accent. So we broke up after the second rehearsal. And then later on, down the line, coming down maybe like around my senior year, or no, it was more like my junior year, then I hung out with some other crazy guys. A guy named T Garden who played drums, and we were going to start a band. I don't even know if we had a name. We did do one song, I Did Not Go to the Moon, but I don't think the band had a name. It was just another band. That would have been closer to punk. We were all Led Zeppelin fans, so T Garden was a really awesome drummer. Turned out to be, I think, you know, he drives motorcycles and he has kids and stuff. And then my other friend Kurt, who probably would have been another lead singer too, or Kurt probably would have been the lead singer. I would have been backup. By then, I was playing rhythm on guitar. So I'd have been rhythm on guitar. Kurt probably would have been lead singer. I think Kurt later on started a band out in Round Rock near Austin. His band that he briefly has or had was, I think they were called Pretty Bird. And they're experimental, and he did one that was called Triangle Car. I heard some of it. It's real experimental, like very experimental. We were all kind of going to start a band, and then we all started writing and kind of did the Jack Kerouac thing, throwing spirals in the air and hiding in those gutter things right there. I don't know if you could see it right there, but like you know those drainage ditches? We'd go in those and write poems, and we're like skaters. It's kind of crazy. We're kind of crazy. I guess we're becoming Red Hot Chili Pepper fans, you know, that kind of thing where everything was real Red Hot Chili Pepper. And then we all split up. We didn't really have but maybe 2 rehearsals, but we did record. We did record a song, an attempt at a song, on probably a tape player back in the day. Other than that, it's just been all theater.